Good afternoon and welcome to our second annual installment of Lucky LinkedIn. Last year, we focused on the first four letters of the word shamrock, S-H-A-M. And this year, we're going to focus on the last four letters, R-O-C-K, starting this week with the letter R, or recession. Over the long term, the output of a modern economy tends to grow, but that doesn't mean it grows in a simple straight line. Generally, economies follow business cycles that fluctuate between peaks and troughs or booms and busts. When a trough lasts long enough to have an impact on the overall growth of an economy, it's considered a recession. The U.S. organization that calls recessions, the National Bureau of Economic Research, looks at widespread factors across the economy to determine the 3Ds of a recession: depth, diffusion, and duration. The good news is that recessions generally haven't lasted very long. An analysis of 11 cycles since 1950 shows that recessions have persisted between 2 and 18 months, with the average spanning about 10 months. Some examples of recessions include boom and bust recession, balance sheet recession, and a balance sheet recession is coined by the economist Richard Koo, which usually happens when an economy is overburdened by debt. Then we have a depression, which is when a recession lasts years or decades. It may be upgraded to a depression. Supply side shock, global events like wars, natural disasters, or public health crises can cause a large shock to domestic or international supply chains and push an economy into recession, similar to what happened with oil in 2008. Type of recession recoveries. Recessions can't fully be understood or classified until they're in the rearview mirror, and sometimes not until the next recession has actually begun. But there are different types of recession recoveries. We have a V-shaped recession recovery, and they usually don't last as long as other recessions, even after a steep drop, because they tend to have the smallest long-term impact on overall GDP growth. You have a U-shaped recession, usually bounces back to your original growth path, but only after a longer period of decline than a V-shaped depression. W-shaped recession is a recession that has a second dip after recovery begins. And then you have a K-shaped recession, which is probably the most recent one to show an example. And that's because this recession has different recoveries in different parts of the economy. One group may experience a V-shape or U-shape recovery, while others may experience a slower recovery or a longer period of negative growth. So on the map, it looks kind of like a letter K. Now, these groups of the economy can be separated along industry, class, generational, or demographic lines. Often the recovery doesn't create these dividing lines, but strains already exist in economic differences amongst the group. Like I said, the most recent example of this would have been February to April of 2020, whereas this recession was caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and is considered by most to show a K-shape on the charts, as the stock market in industries that benefited from remote work rebounded significantly quicker than many other industries like in-person dining or live entertainment. Now, there's no need to panic in response to an economic slowdown or a recession, but you should pay extra attention to your spending and be wary of taking unnecessary risk. And even in the midst of significant economic downturn, there are many positive steps you can take to improve your situation and recession-proof your life. These include adopting a realistic budget, establishing an emergency fund, and generating additional sources of income if necessary. As always, look at your plan, see if your plan is recession-proof. If not, reach out to us and we'll be happy to review your plan. Don't have a plan in place? Give us a call and we'll help you out with that. We'll see you guys next week.